Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Danielle Horton. I'm the Assistant Principal for Apprenticeships at Trafford and Stockport College Group. I know we've got a number of people joining us this evening, so I'll start now because it's a couple of minutes after 6 o'clock, and if more people join, then obviously we'll send these slides out as well if they miss any information. I'm joined by my colleague Wendy Blackburn, who's the head of apprenticeships, and what she's going to do is she's going to, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat. And then she'll go through them as I'm going through this presentation over the next 25 minutes or so. And then Wendy will come on at the end and answer any of your questions. If we don't have time to answer them all today, what we're going to do is pull them all together, put some responses, and we'll share that along with a copy of the apprenticeship slides. So thanks for joining me this evening. It's my privilege to be able to deliver this webinar this evening to you during National Apprenticeship Week. The webinar is to give a little bit more information to people who are potentially looking at going on an apprenticeship and what it may involve. So we just start with what is an apprenticeship. So it's a work-based training programme, and they're designed to help employers train you for a specific role. When you do an apprenticeship, you will have 6 hours minimum per week of off-the-job training. Now, this may be in college with ourselves, or in some areas, and I'll talk through what areas we do a bit later, you do that in the workplace, but you have an assessor who supports you to do that whilst you're in the workplace. Once you've completed your apprenticeship, you have to do something called an endpoint assessment, and that is assessed by an independent assessor outside of the college. And depending on which standard that you're doing will depend on what that looks like, but it may be a professional discussion, portfolio of evidence, an exam, an observation, or a mixture of all three. And once you've done that apprenticeship, the EPA at the end, then you will have achieved your apprenticeship. Again, we'll come on to this shortly, but there are different levels and durations of apprenticeships depending on how much experience that you've got and what job roles that you're in and what industry it is that you're working in. Upon completion of your apprenticeship, you'll receive a nationally recognised and an industry recognised qualification. And there are currently over 600 apprenticeship programmes that have been approved for delivery by the government across professional and vocational subject areas. And at Trafford and Stockport College Group, we offer around 50 of those standards. So what are the benefits of an apprenticeship? Well, as I said before, you receive on-the-job training by industry professionals. So you're in the workplace doing your on-the-job training and you're being guided and mentored by professionals in that role. You earn while you learn, so you get paid whilst you're working on the job, but also if you do come into college one day a week, you also get paid for your day in college. As I mentioned before, there's 600 apprenticeships to choose from, so that there's a variety of pathways and at different levels. You're gaining those specialist skills. You also can benefit from high street discount cards and reduced travel costs. A benefit, especially if you're going on to do a high level apprenticeship, is that you've got no student loan debt. So currently student loan fees for a degree are around £9,500 a year. So you can get a degree if you do a level 6 apprenticeship without any of those loan fees when you finish. Excellent career progression as well. So you're working for an employer whilst you're doing your apprenticeship. You're already proving yourself to that employer. So it's likely that you'll either stay with that employer on completion or you'll progress to somewhere else, but you've got that work experience that somebody maybe doing a traditional classroom-based programme won't have. You get paid holidays, so the minimum holidays that you can get is 5.6 weeks per year, and they are paid. So you gain a range of qualifications while you're working, and kind of linked in with point number 7 is that you get good relationships with employers, and it means that you've got better job prospects on completion of your apprenticeship. Briefly mentioned this before, but there's different levels of apprenticeship. So there's the intermediate apprenticeship, which is at level 2, and they normally range in duration from 12 to 18 months, plus your endpoint assessment period on top of that. And completion of that is the equivalent to gaining 5 GCSE passes at grade 4 or above. You've then got your advanced apprenticeship, so that's at level 3, and that typically ranges in duration from 18 months to 48 months. Plus your endpoint assessment period on top of that. And that endpoint assessment period can range from anywhere from 3 months to about 6 months. And completion of your advanced apprenticeship is equivalent to 2 A levels. And then you've got your higher level apprenticeships. So these are level 4, 5, 6 and 7. And they typically range from 24 months plus. And they're equivalent to, so a level 4 is the first year of a degree or an HNC, level 5, second year of degree, an HND, level 6 is a full BA honours or a BSc, and level 7 is the equivalent to a master's. Within Trafford and Stockport College Group, we have a number of campuses, and 3 of our campuses we deliver apprenticeship provision from. I'll talk in later slides about what type of apprenticeships that we run, but we deliver apprenticeships from our Stretford campus, from our Altrincham campus, and from our Stockport campus. And as I mentioned before, we also deliver some apprenticeships entirely in the workplace, depending on what programme you're doing. So if I just go through now our apprenticeship offer, so we do change and evolve this based on feedback from employers. They're continually bringing out new apprenticeship standards and reviewing them each year. So our offer does change, but this is our current offer, or a sample of our current offer at the moment. So in the science, technology, engineering and manufacturing and math space, so in our STEM space, we've got level 4 automation and controls technician. We've got the level 3 engineering fitter. We've got the level 2 engineering operative. We've got the level 3 information communication technician. We've got the level 4 lead engineering maintenance technician. We've got the level 3 machining technician and the level 3 maintenance and operation technician. And some of them will be progression. So you may come in on the level 2, progress to a level 3 and then progress on to a level 4. So you may end up doing 2 or 3 apprenticeships with us, progressing through the levels. In construction in the built environment, we currently have the craft, carpentry and joinery apprenticeship at level 3, carpentry and joinery at level 2, wood product manufacturing operative at level 2, bricklayer at level 2, installation and maintenance technician at level 3, plumbing and domestic heating technician at level 3, gas engineering operative at level 3, domestic electrician at level 3, property maintenance operative at level 2, fitted interior installer at level 2, and low carbon heating technician at level 3. We then, in our hospitality and hairdressing sector, we have the level 2 and level 3 hair professional. And then we've got the level 2 commis chef, the level 3 chef de partie, and the level 2 production chef. And then in our business and professional, and this is one of the areas when I mentioned before about the ones that are delivered in the workplace. So in this area, these are all delivered in the workplace. Some of them supported by an online VLE, some of them with Teams meetings and tutorials with your assessor, but these are delivered remotely and in the workplace. So in this area, we do the level 4 associate project manager, the level 3 business administrator, the level 5 coaching professional, the level 2 customer service practitioner, the level 3 HR support, the level 4 learning and skills mentor, the level 4 the level 5 learning and skills teacher, the level 5 operations or departmental manager, the level 7 senior leader, and the level 3 team leader supervisor. And again, similar to I mentioned before, you may come in with us and start at a level 3 and progress all the way up to a level 7. And finally, the last sector that we have apprenticeships in is in early years and education. And again, these take place in the workplace with support from your tutor. So we currently do the level 3 early years educator, the level 2 early years practitioner, and the level 3 teaching assistant. And as I say, these change, they evolve. We add more standards on as there's demand, as new standards are released. So please, when I give you further details about how you can look up an apprenticeship, you'll be able to see the range of the ones that we offer. So a little bit more about apprenticeships, and I'm not going to read this out word for word, but I suppose the big one that you're probably all asking is around the wage. So what do I get paid? So in recent years, there's been a big push about apprenticeships and making sure that, you know, they are given a wage that is livable. So from April 2025, the minimum wage for apprentices who are aged 16 to 19 or over 19 and in their first year of their apprenticeship is £7.55 an hour. That is the minimum. Some employers may pay more than that. If you are over 19 and in your second or subsequent year of study of an apprenticeship, then you do get whatever the national minimum wage is for your age. And as I mentioned on an earlier slide, you also get paid for the day that you're in college. If you're doing your 6 hours or your 7 hours in college, so you get paid for that time as well. And do look out, because the minimum wage has been increasing annually as well. Also, other things you need to know about the apprenticeships is English and maths. Now, there has been something in the press this week that has just come out about an amendment on this. So we do need to work through the further detail around it. But currently, for a level 3 apprenticeship, you need to have the equivalent of level 2 maths and English on completion to go towards your endpoint assessment. So that's either a level 2 functional skill or a grade 4 or above at GCSE. If you don't have it, then we have maths and English tutors who can support you to achieve that whilst you're with us. If you're studying a level 2 apprenticeship, then you need to be working towards this, or if you haven't got a level 1 equivalent, working towards and achieving your level 1. As I mentioned before, there has been something in the press this week around anyone who's over 19, they may still need to study this, but they don't necessarily need to pass the exam. Now, that's an exit requirement for the endpoint assessment, but just bear in mind that an employer may ask for it for when you're applying for the job, that you have maths and English. So if you are in school at the moment, you should really be aiming to get those 4 or aboves from a point of view of applying for the job. But I say, if you do come to college and you do need your maths and English, we can support you alongside your apprenticeship. So how easy is it to secure an apprenticeship? So there is demand for them, and it is being proactive and going out and finding that. So we can support you. It may be that you come to the college and you're a full-time learner, and then the employers that we work with want to take on an apprentice, and we come and ask for CVs and share that with the employer. It may be that you're already in a work position and you're going to do an apprentice alongside it. So like myself, I am already employed at Trafford and Stockport College Group, but I've just started the level 7 senior leader apprenticeship back in October. I was in my role, and I'm doing that because my role works towards that apprenticeship. What you need to do, though, because it is competitive, is you need to try and gain work experience. If you are in school now, go and try and do some work experience in that setting that you want to go into. You will be applying like you do for a job. So it's, what can you make how can you make your CV stand out from somebody else's? Have you got work experience? Have you done volunteering work? Have you got your English and your maths? It is competitive. You are applying for a job rather than a course at a college. And how does the application process work? So as I say, and there's links to this and we will send it out to you, but you go on the Find an Apprenticeship website. You'll put in what discipline that you're interested in. So is it engineering? Is it hair? Is it early years? You will also put in a radius of how far that you can travel, and then it will come up with a list of jobs that have those apprenticeships available. You would then apply for that job, and then depending on who that company uses as the training provider would depend on who you go to. So a large number use ourselves, so we would be your training provider. It may be you apply for one and they use a different company or a different training provider, a different college, and you would do your training there. So it's up to the employer who they choose to be your training provider. And as I say, it is like applying for a job. So then you may have interviews, you may have face-to-face meetings, you may have online tests. That's all dictated by the employer and who they're looking for when they're doing their recruitment. So why would you then look online and see who's advertising and who's using Trafford and Stockport College Group as their apprenticeship provider? So we are rated as a good employer by both our apprentices and our employers. So that is on the government website. The survey that goes out about apprenticeship feedback, we're rated as good for both of those things. 99% of all Trafford and Stockport College Group apprentices who sat their EPA last year were successful. So 99% of people who got to their endpoint assessment were successful and achieved, and a large proportion of those achieved a distinction grade. So that's the highest grade that you can get. Apprentices at Trafford and Stockport College Group also benefit from enrichment outside of the apprenticeship that sets you apart from others. So, for example, we do world skills, and last year we had 2 of our apprentices. So one in plumbing was a gold world skills medal winner. So that means that they were recognised as being the best plumber in that competition across the whole of the country. We also had a silver winner for IT. So again, you know, they've ranked against nationally their peers. So there's a lot of enrichment opportunities that you get that sit outside of your core delivery of knowledge and skills for your apprenticeship. We do have an expert apprenticeship team. So we work in partnership with local employers to match young people to potential apprenticeships. As I said before, because we're a college that offer a breadth of provision, not just apprenticeships, it may be that you're here on a full-time study programme and an opportunity comes up for an apprenticeship. And, you know, one of our assessors or employee responsive managers will go into classrooms and say, right, we're looking for a vacancy here, submit your CVs so we can help support you in that way. And the college regularly receives feedback from employers about apprenticeships have increased the level of motivation and productivity within their organisation. So businesses see it as an investment and they're investing in the future in the pipeline of talent. And I know I've talked a lot about school leavers, but apprenticeships are for everyone. So as I mentioned before, I'm doing an apprenticeship myself and senior leader. So it could be people that are mature students who want to go into apprenticeship. It could be people who are already in job roles that want to maybe progress to the next level. So they maybe do a team leader or they want to become an operations manager. So they look at moving them. So it is for any age. Anyone over the age of 16 can do an apprenticeship. And this is just a sample of some of the employers that we work with as a college group. A large number of these we work with for apprenticeships. So the Manchester Airport Group, for example, MAG, we have engineering apprenticeships with them. We have team leader apprenticeships with them. We have aviation apprenticeships with them. We work with Cadent. We work with Sodexo. We have engineering apprenticeships, building services apprenticeships there. We work with Essity. We have a number of engineering apprenticeships there. So there's some really big companies there. I'm not going to go through them all that we work with. And as a group, we work with about 1,500 employers. You've probably had enough of me talking for the moment. So what I'm going to do is pop on a couple of case study videos just for you to watch. They're only a couple of minutes long.
Back in April, I was working at Manchester Airport in security and I'd found this job and just applied for it. And now I'm studying engineering at Trafford College and I've been doing that since September. Some of the benefits is that you are getting paid to learn and you are also working. It's very hands-on as well, like you're always learning new things and everyone's always here to help. Your knowledge is constantly expanding as well. My end goal is to become a manager within engineering. So at the moment, it would be to get through college, be comfortable within the job, and then hopefully progress into some managerial roles within the company. Some advice from me personally, being the only female as well doing this apprenticeship, would be to just go for it. I've got nothing to lose and I've learned a lot within the space of a few months that I thought I'd never know. And I enjoy it as well, so just go for it.
My journey with MAG started when I was 18 years old. I'd come fresh out of college. I'd been working at the airport part-time in retail beforehand, so I was very used to the environment. I'm at the early stages of my journey still. I've always wanted a career in aviation, and this is just the first step of many into the industry. I feel my main skills during this apprenticeship that I've developed are two mainly: customer service. I feel like my understanding of how to resolve conflicts during busy periods has definitely improved. And I also feel like I've gained a much deeper understanding of many of the aviation systems we use day to day at the airport. I feel this is a great way to be introduced into the industry here. I feel like Trafford and Stockport College Group have done an excellent job making this a seamless entry into the industry and giving us all the advice and tools we need to learn everything there is to know about operations in the industry. A long-term career goal for me has always been to be a commercial pilot. I've always been obsessed with the aviation industry, and this is an excellent way of seeing what goes on behind the scenes, as well as learning a little bit about the systems that happen inside the cockpit and bringing it all together into one amazing scheme. I'd absolutely recommend for any young person watching this with any interest in aviation or in any of the other courses that Trafford and Stockport College Group offer. It's an excellent way into the industry and you will not go wrong at all. It's the perfect start into this career.
So what do we do then after an apprenticeship? So these are some developments that have come about in the last 12 months or so. So there is something now called the Post-Apprenticeship Recognition Scheme. So like you would if you were completing a degree or a teaching qualification, you may be able to put BA honours after your name or PGCE. Well, what they've recognised is actually studying an apprenticeship and working. It is no mean feat. And if, you know, you could argue that it's more work than, you know, doing a course independently. So there is now a post-apprenticeship recognition scheme, and you can see there on the screen the letters then that you can put after your name, which indicates that you have achieved the certain level. So for example, if you achieved a level 2 apprenticeship, you'd put CSA after your name, and that means that you have achieved a certificate of standard apprenticeship. And you can see that goes all the way up to CGA, which is a certificate of graduate apprenticeship. So that's for anyone doing that level 6 or 7 qualification. So that's really important. It is a new thing. You do have to apply. I think it's about £30 to get that recognition. But again, setting you apart for jobs and having that recognition is something that's long overdue for apprentices, because as I say, it is there for other qualifications. What's also new as well, and I think this came about in September, is about applying UCAS tariff points. So people may do an apprenticeship at level 3 and then want to go on to university, and you can do a higher level apprenticeship, but you may not want to do the apprenticeship and do it a full-on degree. And previously you didn't get UCAS points if you completed a level 3 apprenticeship, but now you do. The points are based on the duration of your apprenticeship, and there has been some consultation around this. So it doesn't matter if you get a pass, merit or distinction, but you do get points. So if you're on a 12-month or 12 to 17-month apprenticeship and you pass it, you would get 48 tariff points. If you're on an 18 to 23-month apprenticeship, you would get 64 tariff points. 24-month apprenticeship, 96 tariff points, and 36-month apprenticeship, you would get 112 tariff points. So say then that opens the doors to people who maybe then want to go into the university route, not with the apprenticeship, that you've got that recognition. So next steps. So I've mentioned this before about the Find an Apprenticeship service. As I say, we will send these slides out, so you've got the hyperlink, so you can click on that link. But that is where you'll go on the government website. You will find, especially if your school leavers or you're due to finish in the summer, that'll probably start getting busier April, May, June time as employers start to look to recruit for August and September. You can also look on our website as well. We do advertise apprenticeships on behalf of employers. And if you want to submit an inquiry, if you want some further information, if you know that you want to, you've already got an employer and they're looking for somewhere to provide, then please click on that link when we send it out about contact the team. If you do want further information, we have got open evenings coming up. Now, these are for all provision. So we will be discussing adults, we will be discussing 16 to 18 full time, we will be discussing apprenticeships, but please do come along to one of these open evenings that we've got happening in March. I'll be at the Trafford-Stretford one myself on the 13th of March if there are any more questions you'd like to ask. But it gives you an opportunity to speak to the apprenticeship team, but also the tutors who deliver the day release when you come into college. And we will have other events as we go through the year, or you may be in year 10 and you're looking at coming in 12 months time. We'll have an open event in the autumn term as well. But as I say, once we send these slides out, you can click on the hyperlinks on the previous page and submit any inquiries that you may have. So what I'm going to do now is, as I say, Wendy, our head of apprenticeships, has been working through writing any questions that you've had whilst I've been talking away. So I just want to thank you for your time. Apologies, those 2 videos didn't work, but we will share that information with you. And I'm just going to pass over to Wendy, who's going to just talk through some of the questions that have been asked. So if you just give us a couple, 30 seconds or so, and we'll just switch over. All right, but thank you very much for your time and for listening this evening.
Okay, thanks, Danielle. So we've just got a few questions for me to run through that came up in the chat. So the first one was around, can I do a level 3 as an 18-year-old? So yes, absolutely you can. The level of qualification that you would study as an apprentice isn't actually determined by your age or by your prior qualifications. What it's determined by is the job role that you'll be undertaking. So in certain sectors, the first qualification that you would need to do would be a level 2 qualification. For example, the hairdressing. If you've got no prior experience and no prior qualifications in hairdressing, you would do a level 2 hairdressing apprenticeship, and then you may progress on to a level 3. But in the engineering or the plumbing or the electrical installations qualifications, there are no level 2 equivalents. So in those instances, you would start straight away your apprenticeship journey as a level 3 apprentice. Similarly, we've been asked, can you still do an apprenticeship with a degree? And again, the answer to that is yes, you can, but your degree would need to be in a substantially different discipline to the apprenticeship that you're looking to join. So for example, if you had done an engineering-based degree, then it's unlikely that you would meet the eligibility criteria to do an apprenticeship within engineering. However, you could retrain and enroll as an apprentice on, say, a hospitality qualification, because the previous learning that you've undertaken is in a substantially different area to the apprenticeship programme that you would want to enrol onto. So hopefully that provides a bit of clarification around those two areas. We've had a question about start dates for apprenticeships, and also how many vacancies that we currently have advertised on our website. So apprenticeships are available at all points throughout the academic year, and actually the annual year. However, what we will see is that in the spring period, employers will start to recruit more actively for apprentices to join their organisations. So at any point in the year, you can look for an apprenticeship opportunity on the websites that Danielle signposted you to, but you will see that the opportunities that are available become more significant around the spring period. And also just to highlight that in terms of the training, certain qualifications such as construction and engineering operate more on an academic year basis, whereas others such as the business and the professional qualifications, we deliver and enrol all year round. We also had a question about how apprenticeships are funded. So apprenticeships are funded by the employer and the government. As an apprentice, you cannot be asked to contribute to the training and the cost of training. So for anybody on the call who's thinking that they may need to take out a student loan, or that they may need to contribute to the cost of the training, then that's absolutely not the case. It would be either funded through your employer and their levy account, which is something that large organisations have in place, or it would be fully funded through the government, or a mix of the two. So no requirement at all as an apprentice to contribute to the cost of your training. And I think that is probably the majority of the questions. We've had a couple of questions around personal circumstances. So I've got this qualification, can I do a specific degree? What I would suggest is that where you're unsure about your qualifications and what eligibility you would have for programmes, is that you contact our apprenticeship team and they'll be able to talk you through your specific circumstances. Okay, so I think that's everything for this evening. What we'll do, as Danielle said, is send out a copy of the webinar to everybody who's attended, and we'll also make sure that we publish a fact sheet with the questions and answers that you've asked for tonight. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining. Good luck with securing your apprenticeship.